Hey everyone, and welcome back to Gearblocks. A little bit different than usual in this video. Instead of working on the page, I wanted to check out something I've been working on, something else. I've got a video to edit of that trailer, I think. I haven't done it yet. But that trailer has steering. It can turn, the rear wheels turn to help go around corners. And then the other thing I wanted to try building was a new type of CVT that someone has designed. A CVT is a continuously variable transmission. You have the lowest ratio it can work at and the highest ratio it can work at, but it can do any ratio in between it. Typically there's a cone or two cones connected to a belt, and the size of the cones can change. And as they change, it changes the ratio. But they don't handle torque very well, and they wear out pretty easily, and so on and so forth. They're just not a very good design for using in cars and stuff. So people have been working on designs that use like gears and whatnot. So what they ended up doing is they have 4 ratchets and 4 cranks and stuff, and it just kind of turns the rotating movement into a reciprocating kind of movement. And then the ratchet allows it to go down or up or whatever. It allows it to go one way, and then as it's going the other way, it rotates the output shaft. And then when this one is engaged, none of the other ones are engaged. As this one's disengaging, another one will be engaged. And each one takes up a quarter of the revolution of the output. That way there's always power being transferred. And then the length of this arm changes how far it has to move. The further it has to move, the more torque it'll have. The longer it is, the more torque. The longer it has to move, but the slower it will be. The shorter you make this arm relative to that one, the faster it'll go through its cycle, the faster the output will be, but it has less torque. The real one also has elliptical gears, I think they're called. They're ovals instead of being round to make up for the different speeds that the different parts need to be like moving at. But unfortunately in this, there's not really any way I can do that, at least not that I can think of. So that's why it's being kinda weird, but it does work. Once we get going, you can see we're doing 29, 30, 31. It's not the fastest, but it works. It's being driven by that electric motor. It goes through the gearbox and then out the back. And then I have a bunch of pulleys making the output turn faster. That has a ton of torque, but we're stuck at 30. If I make those shorter, we should start going faster. Yep. There we go. Now we're going faster. And that's just how this works. And it works really well. The prototype that they made is for bicycle. If I can find a link to it, I'll put it in the description so you can actually see the proper video and how the real thing works and what I've based this off of. But there you can see the arms changing length of the pistons. And then I had to use some servos just to get the timing right. So as you can see, that one's kind of up, that one's more down, and then these ones are side to side. And in this game, you can get away with only using 2. And it almost works better if you only use 2. The timing becomes less of an issue. But yeah, that is the new style of CVT that engineers are working on. And it works really well. I hate the normal CVTs. The current ones that use cones, I cannot stand them. I don't like driving them. I don't like how little torque they can handle. They're really, really good for efficiency because they hold the engine at one constant RPM in its peak torque range. But for anything other than just daily driving point A to B, they suck. But this design will be able to actually handle torque when it's working properly. Come on. This is what the oval gears fix, is that issue that I was just having right there with the timing. So yeah. Kind of a bad explanation on my part, but I don't really know how else to explain it. It's literally just, like I said, turning the rotating motion into a reciprocating motion with a lever, and then using the mechanical advantage that you get from lengths of levers to change the speed and torque, and then they use a ratchet to connect it to the other end since it's a reciprocating motion. This one is the same thing, but I made them all in line rather than like that one. It's supposed to be, oh, there it is. And it kept running out of power, so I put two big solar panels and a generator on the back. But this one does kind of work too. Oops. So let's start the generator so it doesn't run out of power. And then you can see it's kind of working already. It shouldn't be moving as I'm rolling forwards. That tells me that the the ratchets aren't fully disengaging when I need them to. I could probably reduce the step count or whatever on them, but as you can see, that gives you a bit of a better idea of how it works. And then you lengthen it, and gives you more torque. But then the timing goes off because, like I said, gears and whatnot. But I'm going to try and drop this down to 15 and see what happens. I'm going to see if that helps any, because, oops, if I set it down to 1, it doesn't do anything. And then 20, it seems to catch too much. So let's try that. Just start the engine again so I don't run out of power. And it's out of power. It, just because of the servos and stuff, it just eats through power like crazy. It's not a very good way of doing it in this. Let's get some more power going. As soon as those stop spinning, and for some reason, when they spin like this, they use a ton of power. Like, it's slowly going down as it slows down, but like, that really sucks. My track version of my T2 is supposed to have fully adjustable, like, camber, caster, toe, everything, this thing. But because of this issue, it just kills the battery way too quick for it to actually work. And yeah, it's still, the first one's kind of working, but it's too out of power. Is it working again yet? Kind of. Is the battery charging yet? No. So yeah, that's the issue with doing it in this. It's just the way you have to do it. It's not really that reliable. So I'm going to quickly, instead of using that battery, I'm going to duplicate one of these. and use this to power everything instead. Come on, stop being a pain in the butt. Alright, so connect the pistons first. Then I'll connect the servos that are for timing. I should also be testing this with an engine instead of an electric motor, but it gets the point across. And I've also been putting counterweights and springs to kind of take the load off of it, the torque away, and let the timing kind of mess up when it needs to and catch back up when it can. Connect those up to that. Just to try and keep it from going flat too fast. Or dying too fast. Alright, let's start the engine again. There we go. And there we go. This one has, whoa, a shorter throw on the motor side. Just to try and see how it would work. And yeah, sometimes it still does that and inverts them for some reason. But it works. At least as a concept, it works. For some reason, it really does not like turning. And it doesn't really like it when it's set to be more torquey. But, yeah. And there goes the other one glitching back in a normal position. So it needs work. I need to figure out something for the timing. But like I said, in this, it also works really well with only 2 of them. And it seems that changing the step count or whatever front on the ratchets to 15 seems to have helped it as well. So yeah, I just need to do a little bit more adjusting. This is actually working quite well right now. We're doing 17. Oh, it just broke again. Kind of. Straighten out going this way. So yeah, we're doing 14. We were doing 17 kilometers an hour. Come on. Okay, whatever. And then, oops, wrong button. There we go. Right. 12. Alright, I'll shorten them again. And we should, yeah, go faster. So now I just want to try and find a way to make it more compact and actually usable. The real life concept for it is actually really cool, and it's really compact. Like I said, they're using the concept on a bicycle, and it works pretty well for a bicycle, it looks like, and it looks pretty cool. So, yeah. Shorter video today, but I've got 2 this week. The video with that trailer, I actually show building it all and whatnot, but this took me quite a while to get working to the point it is and figure out, especially with designing a couple different variants. But I will likely use this in some kind of build once I get a smaller version of it set up. It shouldn't be rotating still though, so I need to figure out how I can get it to work exactly how I need it to. But I'll disable these 2 really quick and see how those are just gonna kinda, they should just be hanging there now. I'll set that to rotate as well. So now those are just gonna hang there, they're not doing anything. And you can see how that even just using 2 of them works plenty fine in this. I have them set as steps just to make it easier for like testing and stuff. But yeah, it seems to work quite well. So hopefully in the future, I will have a design to show that's actually nice and compact and works very well. Um, Either way, I don't really know what else to say about it. I don't know how else to better explain it. It's kind of funny making those wiggle back and forth like that. So yeah, hopefully this video makes sense. Hopefully it's understandable. Like I said, if I can find a video on the real life counterpart, I will put it in the description below. But yeah. So, as usual, if you have any tips, tricks, questions, anything you want me to check out, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And as always, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.